Am I the a-hole for telling my sister I don't know if I love her after finding out about her 5-year affair? I'm in an incredibly difficult situation with my sister, and I'm struggling to navigate my emotions. I, female, 32, have always had a close relationship with my younger sister, and when she needed help, I didn't hesitate. 5 months ago, my sister came to me pregnant and told me that it was the result of a one-night stand. She didn't have anywhere to go, so I welcomed her into my home. My husband is currently stationed overseas for 6 more months, so having my sister around felt like a blessing. We've always been close, and I loved her dearly, so it wasn't even a question for me to help her during this critical time. However, everything changed one Monday when I returned home from work to a scene I could never have imagined. As I pulled into my driveway, I saw my sister and a strange woman in a heated argument right on my doorstep. They were screaming at each other, and it was immediately clear that this was no ordinary argument. I had no idea who this woman was or why she was so angry, but things escalated when she started physically poking my pregnant sister. Obviously, I didn't know what was going on, but I couldn't let things get physical, so I intervened. I sent my sister inside and confronted the woman, trying to de-escalate the situation. I asked her to calm down and tell me what was happening, but she was too angry to listen at first. She started yelling at me, asking if I was also sleeping with her husband. Her question threw me off completely. I had no idea what she was talking about. I kept asking her to explain herself, and that's when she dropped the bombshell. This woman revealed that my sister had been having an affair with her husband for 5 years. I was shocked. I couldn't process what she was saying, but she had evidence. Printed chats, photos, emails, and even receipts to back up her claims. It was overwhelming and horrifying. I couldn't bring myself to go through all the proof she had, but I didn't need to. The details that came out in just a few moments were enough to paint a devastating picture. First, I found out that my sister knew this man was married. Not only did she know, but she had actively chosen to be the other woman for 5 years. She knew about his wife and their 4 children, one of whom had a severe disability as a result of a car accident. This woman was a stay-at-home mom, devoting her time to caring for their children, while my sister was secretly having an affair with her husband. To make matters worse, the man my sister had been involved with knew about her pregnancy. Not only did he know, but he had taken her on a baby moon to celebrate it. My sister had spent years believing that this man would leave his wife for her, despite his continuous lies and empty promises. My sister had allowed herself to become deeply emotionally invested in this affair, and it seemed she was holding on to the hope that they had a future together. I didn't know how to respond. I was devastated, angry, and confused. I told the woman I was sorry and that I had no idea this was happening, but I also asked her to leave. I didn't want the neighbors to call the police, and the confrontation wasn't going anywhere productive. Before she left, the woman gave me her phone number and begged me not to let her husband into my house. I reassured her that no man was stepping foot in my home and that I wouldn't allow him to come near us. After the woman left, I went back inside to confront my sister. I demanded answers, but she denied everything at first. She claimed the woman was just a vindictive ex-wife trying to ruin her life. I wasn't convinced. I suggested we look up the marriage online to see if any motions for dissolution had been submitted, but my sister kept deflecting, telling me that I would never understand their relationship. She said they were in love, and he just couldn't leave his wife because of his kids. I was furious. I told her she was being stupid and naive to believe his lies. We fought hard that night. My sister continued to defend herself, saying that their love was real and that I couldn't possibly understand the complexity of their situation. But I couldn't sympathize with her. She had knowingly engaged in an affair with a married man, one who had a family that was deeply affected by her actions. I couldn't reconcile the person I thought my sister was with the person I had just discovered her to be. The next day, I made a difficult decision. I told my sister she could stay with me because I didn't want her to become a financial burden on this other woman. I felt a sense of responsibility to ensure that my nephew wouldn't suffer because of my sister's poor choices. However, I also told her that, emotionally, I couldn't deal with her right now. She asked me if I still loved her, and I had to be honest. I told her, right now, I don't know if I do. I'll always help my nephew and make sure you're not in danger, but I can't say that I like you as a person right now. You've shown me that you're not someone I can trust. I didn't stop there. I told her I didn't trust her with anything anymore. I couldn't even trust her not to try something with my husband when he returned. I felt a complete loss of faith in her character, and I wasn't going to let her take advantage of me. So I made her sign a tenants agreement, outlining the terms of her stay in my home. It was a painful step to take, but I needed to protect myself and my household. Since then, my sister has been begging me to forgive her. She's constantly asking for my forgiveness, but I've told her that there's nothing to forgive. It's not about forgiveness at this point. I just don't know who she is anymore. The person I thought I knew is gone, and in her place is someone who has made choices that have deeply hurt not just herself, but an innocent family. How can I forgive someone when I don't even recognize them anymore? So, now I'm left asking myself if I'm the a-hole for telling my sister that I don't know if I love her anymore. I'm torn because, on one hand, she's my sister, and I've always been there for her. But on the other hand, she's done something so fundamentally wrong that I don't know if I can ever look at her the same way. She knowingly hurt another woman, another family, and she shows no real remorse for it. Instead, she just keeps asking me to understand and accept her choices. But how can I? How can I accept that my sister has spent the last 5 years living a lie, being complicit in a man's deception, and hurting people who didn't deserve it? I can't just brush that off and pretend everything is okay. And I'm terrified that, if I let this go, she might continue down the same path. Or worse, try to involve my own husband in her twisted view of relationships. I don't know how to move forward. I've always been someone who believes in family, but this situation has tested that belief. I want to be there for her and my nephew, but I don't know how to do that when I feel so betrayed by her actions. How do you rebuild trust with someone who has shown such a disregard for the well-being of others? And how do you reconcile the love you once had for a person with the disappointment and anger you now feel? In the end, I know I'll always be there for my nephew. He's innocent in all of this, and I won't let him suffer because of his mother's choices. But when it comes to my sister, I'm not sure where we go from here. She's still in my house, but the emotional distance between us feels like an insurmountable wall. I'm trying to figure out if there's a way to mend things or if this is the beginning of a permanent rift in our relationship. So, am I the a-hole for telling my sister that I don't know if I love her anymore after finding out about her 5-year affair? Or am I justified in feeling this way given the magnitude of her actions?